Senior counsel to former President Trump, Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne, a pleasure to have you on. You heard that report. What's your reaction?
Reaction is I'm so glad that Congress is spending time doing these hearings. People need to remember short-term history here, Liz. In the Trump-Pence administration, we starved Iran. One of the first things that President Trump did was cut off their funding, get out of that JCPOA that John Kerry and Joe Biden and the rest of them have desperately been trying to reenter. Why is this relevant to current times and to Americans? Here's why. When we left office, Iran was desperate to make deals. They didn't have the funding they have now. Now they're allowed to produce about 3 million barrels of oil a day. They have stockpiled somewhere north of $80 billion. That's helping to fund Hamas and Hezbollah. And I'm very glad that the Congress has people under oath. The Senate had people under oath today to explain this policy. Two other things, Liz, that I see related to today's hearings and Hillary Vaughn's very great report. One is Biden has a big problem right now in the Democratic Party. His approval rating among Democrats fell sharply after the October 7th attack in Israel and his subsequent comments that we will stand with Israel. Why? Gallup found earlier this year in its polling that for the first time ever, more Democrats had sympathies towards Palestinians than Israelis. So now Joe Biden, his average approval rating among Democrats during his presidency has been 86%. He's down to 75%. He has a 5% approval rating among Republicans, 37% among independents. There's no crossover appeal for him. He doesn't have the credibility to, I think, go backwards and try to make amends on a failed Iran policy that has emboldened our enemies and imperils not just the Middle East, but imperils America. When you see people protesting, they're not just saying death to Israel, they say death to America in quick succession. And the last point, in the Trump administration, we froze the funding for the UNRWA. This is one of those many UN groups. And the reason that we did that was because we saw the anti-Semitism and we saw that they were friendly towards Hezbollah and Hamas. Folks, it matters who's in charge. And I think some of the big policy failings beyond what you see about his acuity, agility, and ability every day in front of us, Liz, the major policy failings on the world stage by the Biden-Harris, we never hear about her, thankfully, administration are really why we're in this very tough position right now.
You know, what Kellyanne, let's show the new Gallup poll. This new Gallup poll just came out today. What Kellyanne just said, the president's approval rating among Democrats dropped 11 points. It's the lowest of his presidency. He's now at 37% overall. That matches an historic record low for this president. Fox, so what you're citing here is the president in a corner. Fox News' Chad Pergram reports there's a growing divide among Democrats. A growing number of Democrats oppose or against the president's aid package to Israel. So is he now going to look, because he is political, is he going to look at that, the poll numbers, and is he going to back off supporting Israel because Democrats are saying we don't like it?
Not sure he'll do that, but the anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitic elements in the Democratic Party are being surfaced now. And by the way, it's not just young people on college campuses. We had a vote to condemn Hamas in the U.S. Congress. One Republican in the House voted against it because he votes against everything like that. But you had 15 Democrats, Liz, 9 voted against condemning Hamas and 6 voted present, which basically means they didn't condemn Hamas. So he's got it right there at home in his backyard, and people are shocked to see this. I don't know that he'll pull back on an aid package for Israel. I think he'll have to do the deal with Republicans because he can't rely on all Democrats to fall in line.
So where does this shake out with voters and the Democrat Party, Kellyanne? You're an astute observer of the body politic. How does this go, and how is this going to play with the voters? What is happening now? Final word.
Liz, the way Gallup explains Joe Biden's sharp decline in approval rating just in September is they explain it because of his actions on Israel. And this is a problem for him, I think, going forward, because he hasn't built up that goodwill and that political currency, that capital, to spend on things like inflation, crime, the border, Putin, you name it. The Democrats don't want him to run for a third term. They're kind of stuck with him. And even though Gavin Newsom is running for president right under his nose in China for a week, that's right now not enough, I think, to dislodge a sitting president. So he doesn't have that goodwill. I think the best they have is like he'll be a wartime president and people will say we got to stick with what we have. That's the best thing he has going.
Wow. Great analysis. Kellyanne Conway, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Liz.
Same
Thank you.
here.